What are my top 3 suggestions for individuals with plantar fasciitis? Okay, let's break this down. There's a number of reasons why plantar fasciitis can turn up. So, for those of you who don't know, that's a pain in the bottom of the foot. If you think about the tissue on the bottom of the foot, kind of like chicken breast, like a cooked chicken breast, it gets kind of stringy. Like if you were to stab it with a fork and you can almost shred it. The same thing will happen with the connective tissue, the muscles in the connective tissue on the bottom of the foot. When it's constantly forced into a position that it doesn't have the physical ability to move into. So it's kind of like if you took an elastic band and kept stretching and stretching and stretching, at some point it's going to lose its stretch and you're going to start to see the kind of dismantling of that plastic, that elastic material, where it's going to kind of start falling apart. The same thing starts to happen in the bottom of the foot or that connective tissue. Typically, what that is a cause of is a weakness further up the chain or further up in the body. If you think about the body as all these seesaws sitting on top of seesaws, if you will, each joint being its own seesaw on the body, moving at each seesaw to try to keep everything balanced and keep your head over your center of mass. What happens is when there's muscles that aren't working or aren't firing correctly, those seesaws can shift to a certain degree to keep everything in alignment, but at some point you're going to max out a seesaw. In the case of plantar fasciitis, you've maxed out the seesaws in the foot or the joints in your foot. You're asking that connective tissue to do something that it can no longer do because it's actually at the end of its length. And then what happens is you just constantly do that and it starts to shred and dismantle that tissue. Now, typically that's happening because of So what are my top 3 suggestions for individuals with plantar fasciitis? I would say, first off, if you have a muscle activation technique specialist in your area, definitely get diagnosed. And that's not me just being biased because that is what we do here at Fitness Tech. That's because there's very few other modalities out there that take an entire look at the entire body or look at the entire body and say, okay, you've got XYZ issues going on here where muscles aren't firing. That is potentially why that tissue in the foot is becoming so aggravated. So you just get right to the source. Now, if you don't have access to someone that performs MAT, my suggestion would be start with lower abdominal muscles, pelvic floor muscles, jaw and neck muscles.